welcome to another video. So today we will be discussing about the top 10 topics that you shouldn't forget when you're studying for Unit 5, that is Plant Physiology. Now first, let me convince you why you should all do plant physiology. So the weightage of it is as follows. You will have 15% questions from part B and 10% questions in part C. So 15 and 10%, that's quite a big number. Also, this is a strategically very important unit. Why? Because all of us are like, arey yaar, plants are so boring, it's so difficult, not so interesting unit, and that's where we lack. Okay, so if you want to score well and better than your friends, then I suggest you should do at least these 10 important topics from plant physiology. Which books you should refer for this? For that I've made a video, so I'll link it up in the I button or down in the description. You can go and check it, and that unit would contain these books and these topics that I'm going to tell you right now. So first up in my list, and the most important question and most important topic, is phytohormones. Now we all know the different phytohormones. However, for all phytohormones, you don't have to do everything. Now for auxins and gibberellins, you need to know what is the function of it, what is the pathway involved in the synthesis, and what is the transport mechanisms. Okay, these three, the very important parts for auxin and gibberellins. For cytokinins, abscisic acid, both, all you need to know is the classification, that is the main functions, and how the chemical structure is. Okay, briefly, these two you need to do for this. For ethylene, you need to do the function as well as the transport mechanism. Okay, and finally you need to do another hormone, that is jasmonic acid pathway or jasmonate synthesis, which is very important. It is another plant hormone for which questions come a lot from CSIR NET. The other accessory hormones like stringolactones, etc., or brassinosteroids, you just need to know a little about them, just 2-3 lines, so that you can solve sums on them. So in all, what we discussed is, from the first part, you need to be thorough with all the functions of these hormones. Okay, for a few you need to do the pathways and the transport. That is the first one. The second topic in my list that you shouldn't skip while doing is the solute potential and the transportation translocation. Now what should I do in this unit, you may ask? So first, water potential. You need to know water potential, the components of the water potential, how water flows from higher potential to lower potential, what is a flaccid cell, a turgid cell, etc. Then you need to know how water is transported from the root hair. Okay, short distance transport, and then translocation, that is via the phloem and the xylem. So the loading of the phloem, the hypothesis behind this, very important. Questions definitely do come, and from this section specifically the questions are asked from part C. In this itself you have to do the apoplast pathway, the symplast pathway, what the Casparian strip is, etc. So second subsection, solute potential and the translocation mechanisms. Third up in my list is the photosystems. So we know there is photosystem 1, photosystem 2. You need to know the sequence, all the electron carriers, how many FADs are produced, NADs produced, what are everything, what is the red drop effect, etc. So all the effects and also the inhibitors. There have been many questions asked from the inhibitors of these photosystems as well. So definitely a must do. Next up in the list is the secondary metabolites. Now in secondary metabolites, you have to do the main 3 classes, that is terpenes, then phenolic compounds and nitrogen containing compounds. Specifically in that you must do the alkaloids. Now what should you do for this? The precursor molecules for each, the pathways, and some characteristic examples of this. The plant and the particular secondary metabolite. This is one important thing. So you will find many anti-malarial drugs that are being made, many coronary treating drugs, etc., cancer drugs, the colchicine, etc. There are many examples. So you need to know what is the specific. Up in my list is photosynthesis. Now in photosynthesis, what you need to do? You need to do the C3, C4, CAM pathway, C2. This is very important. You get questions, and don't forget to write to do the examples of each of these parts. Okay, so that here is very important. Up in my list is sensory photobiology. So in sensory photobiology, you have to do two main things. One is called as the phytochromes and second one is called as the cryptochromes. So you have to do what are these compounds, what are their functions in the plant. Also in this section, you need to understand the difference between a long day plant and a short day plant. Okay, so the difference, these are places wherein they quiz you a lot. So definitely do these. There are questions from these parts as well. Next up in the list is nitrogen metabolism. So in that, nitrogen fixation specifically, we have to do how nitrogen is transported from the soil into the cell. That is one part from this topic that you need to do. You need to thoroughly understand the mechanism of fixation of nitrogen by rhizobium. That is, how is the nodule formed, what are the different genes involved in it. So that is an important part from the N2 fixation. Next important part that you need to do from the list is the metal deficiencies part. So there are not many questions from this, however there are notable questions and I feel that is very easy to understand. So you need to understand what is chlorosis, what is necrosis, and due to which metal deficiency specifically do we observe all of this. Next important topic from which questions are specifically asked in the part C is the plant immunity part. Okay, so in the plant immunity, against the various stresses, there are plant defense responses. So what is the hypersensitive response? What are the steps occurring? Which are the molecules that are involved? This is very, very important. So it's a small section, won't take up much time. So what's the harm in doing it? Maybe you will score 4 marks for that, right? So that is the part. And finally, the last part is the plant developmental biology part. So that part, I guess that's more involved in the developmental biology unit. So I've made videos on that. I'll link it up. You can just go through it. They will hardly take you 15 to 20 minutes and then you'll be done with that section. So ideally not a part of this chapter, however some included in this part itself. So that's it from me for today for all of the important topics from plant physiology. If you want me to do any topics related to the other units as well, the importance, please comment down below. And if this video helped you, please subscribe to my channel, like it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.